I guess there's going to be a part 2 because my phone just decided it didn't want to record anymore. So, whatever. We'll just do a part 2 because I'm sick of retrying this. So, I realized I didn't want to be a motorcycle mechanic. And I started to look into other fields. And my dad, my whole life, had been law enforcement. Well, he started out as the Army. Then he did prison guard for the federal supermax here in Colorado, the ADX. And then he was a state trooper in Alaska for most of my life. And so I thought, as a kid, I always kind of wanted to be a cop, but it just didn't seem like a very good family life. But I decided that's what I want to do. I'm going to be a cop. I've always had like a servant mentality, like serving other people and serving the public. I want to be a cop. So I started trying to be a cop. I applied for the Alaska State Troopers. After about a year of a hiring process, they turned me down. Then I applied for the sheriff's office here in Canyon City, or Fremont County, and they turned me down. Of course, they never give you a reason as to why. And it's not like I have a criminal record, so what the fuck? The only thing I could ever chalk it up to was lack of experience, which makes sense. So then I applied for the sheriff's office as a jailer. Got turned down again. This time they told me because of lack of experience. So I said, fuck. What do I do now? So now we're where I'm at now. We've made it to the present day. The big reveal. Where am I at now? 22 years old. It's 2025. What have I done? Where am I at? I am at the exact same place that I was when I graduated high school. Sucks to say it. I haven't achieved anything. I have a certificate saying I'm a certified motorcycle mechanic, but I found out I don't even need that. It was a waste of my time. I've achieved nothing. No girlfriend. I've had girlfriends, but I actually just broke up with the one I had. I've achieved nothing. I've gone nowhere. I ran in place for 5 years. Not 5 years. 6, 7 years. It's been almost 7 years since I graduated high school. No, it's been 5. I'm tripping. I'm sorry. I'm going crazy. For some reason, I thought I was 18 in 2018. So it's been 5 years. 5 years of running in place. Quick maths. Now, what do I do, right? So where am I at? So when the sheriff's office turned me down again, I called my dad because he has connections with the prisons around here because he was a prison guard at the federal supermax. So I called him and I asked him for the number for the director of the state prisons because if anyone can get me a job, it's the head honcho of all the state prisons in Colorado. And I absolutely could have gotten that job. Could have. But instead, my dad was willing to give me the number, but he said, why don't you just join the Army? Can't say the thought hadn't crossed my mind. My dad, my grandfathers, all of them were in the military family. But I had made a point, just like I did in high school, about graduating, and usually when I make a point of something, I stick to it. I had made a point of not being another male in my family that joined the damn military. Because pretty much every single male in my family has joined the military right out of high school. And I made a point not to do that. I didn't want to be just another Jeffords that joined the military. Boy, how that went. Foreshadowing. So I told my dad that. I said, I just don't want to be another guy that joins the military. And he said, well, you could look at it like that. Or you could look at it like this. Every single male in our family that joined the military did something with their lives. And every single one that didn't do much. And I realized that he's right. And that's exactly where I have been. Not doing much. And I realized that I'm at the point in my life where I need to do something, or just going to be a bum for the rest of my life, doing nothing. So I told my dad, I said, all right, I'll go talk to the recruiter. And if he can secure me a job up in Alaska, I'll do it. Because that's what I've been trying to do. That's been my main goal ever since I left Alaska, was to get home, get back to Alaska. So I said, if he can secure me a spot in Alaska, I'll do it. So I went down to the recruiter. I said, hey, this is the deal. I want Fort Wainwright, Alaska. What do I got to do to get it? And he said, no one likes going to Alaska. No one wants to be up there. So that should be pretty easy. I said, fuck. Guess I'm joining. So here we are. Flat top. I'm not in yet, but I am enlisted. And I ship out in May. It's currently February. I got 3 months to prepare myself. And I'm excited, honestly. I'm really excited. This, I'm finally starting a new chapter of my life. And for the first time since the last time I posted a video on this channel, I know where my life is going to be for the next 3 years. I know where, at the very least. And I know that at the end of the day, for the next 3 years at least, unless I re-enlist, I'm going to have a place to stay. I'm going to have food to eat. And I'm finally on track to what I want. To be a cop. Because if the police won't take military experience as experience for the police force, I don't know what the fuck to do. And I'm pretty confident that after this I'll be able to get a job as a police officer. Absolutely. And while I'm in, I'm going to be a diesel mechanic. I'm going to be a wheeled vehicle mechanic, 91 Bravo. So I'll have another thing under my belt to fall back on if I need it in life. If I can't make it as a cop, I can make it as a diesel mechanic. If I can't make it as whatever I want to be, I can do motorcycle mechanic. I have things to fall back on now, or I will. And I think it's the right course of action. I really do. I think it's the right course of action. And, I have, I'm a Christian man. And I just recently found my faith again. I lost it a few times, if you're watching this video and you want me to go over my story with faith and how I've lost it and found it again, I'm more than happy to do a video on that. But, yeah, I'm a Christian guy, and I've really struggled recently with trying to figure out what God's plan for me is, right? Where does he want me to go? What does he want me to do? Because I've gotten to the point where I'm giving it away. It's in God's hands. God lead me. Be the good shepherd. I'm done trying to control my life. Because when I try to control my life, it doesn't work out. So I'm letting God take the wheel. I'm letting God, I'm putting it all in him. Putting all my faith in him. And ever since I started doing that, the military has really shown itself as God's plan for me. everything kind of has been pointing me in that direction. And I've been resisting it for a long time. Ever since I was a kid, I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But I think that's what God wants for me, and that's why nothing else is working out. The day I went to MEPS, which if you don't know what that is, it's like the military medical evaluation for whether or not you're eligible to join the military. So you go there first. A lot of people, if their ship out date is soon, they'll go to MEPS and then just ship out straight from MEPS. You'll do your medical evaluation, swear in, get on a bus and go. But I went early because I had like 5 months until I was shipping out. So I went to MEPS, did all that, and now when I ship out, I'll go up to MEPS again, but I won't do any of the medical stuff. I'll just swear in again, get on the bus and go. So, went to MEPS, and we take a big long bus ride up there. First day you do your ASVAB, which I had already done, so I did what's called the PICAT, so it's just verifying that like my ASVAB score was accurate. So I went, did the PICAT the first day, then you stay in a hotel, then you go and do the medical exam the next day. So the next day we get off the bus at MEPS. It's freezing and cold because it's like January. We're all standing outside, and as we're walking up to the doors to MEPS in a big line, there's a chaplain, which is like a military pastor. The chaplain's standing out there handing out these little good books, which is like a pocket Bible of the New Testament. It has like Psalms and Proverbs in it. And he was the first person to ever thank me for my service. Now granted, I've had a lot of people do it since then, and I always say like, I haven't served yet, but I appreciate it. Like, thanks, but I haven't earned that yet. But when the chaplain thanked me, I was walking up, he shook my hand, handed me a Bible, and he said, "Thank you for your service. God bless you." And that was just like a sign to me, like, this is what God wants me to do. That wasn't the chaplain thanking me for my service. That was God. That was Jesus shaking my hand and saying, "Thank you for your service." And finally letting me guide you to where you need to be. And it hit. It really hit me. And then I'm sitting in line, waiting to do my hearing test, next to this Air Force guy. And I'm like, "Hey, man." Chatting him up, talking to him, passing the time. I'm like, "Well, what are you doing in the Air Force? Like, what's your job?" And he says, "Oh, I'm a chaplain." No shit. So I sat there and talked to him about God for the better part of an hour because fucking MEPS takes forever. And every step of the way, there's just been signs that this is what God wants me to do. This is what God has been trying to lead me to for so long. And I have just been resisting and trying to make my own path and being stubborn. And I finally figured it out. Finally figured out what God wants for me. Makes me very happy and at peace, because I know God's going to take care of me. It's a hard thing as a guy to surrender control of your life to anyone, even God. It's a hard thing to admit defeat. Admit that you don't know, that you don't have it figured out, that you don't know what's best. But I don't. Not compared to God. God answered a lot of my prayers with the military. And I'm not in yet. And I'm not saying it's all sunshine and rainbows, so don't go commenting like, "Oh, just wait. Military sucks." I know. I get it. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck. And it's gonna be hard. But that's good. That's what I need. And it says in the Bible, over and over, following Jesus is not going to be easy. It is not supposed to be easy. There's a part of the Bible where two young disciples of Jesus, I can't remember their names. I'm not good with names, especially foreign names, but two disciples of Jesus are following him pretty early on in Jesus's like mentorship, I suppose is what you'd call it, or his, I don't know, his life. And their mother comes up to Jesus and she says, Jesus, please, give my boys, when you become the king of, everything, the king of the Jews, give my boys a seat at your right and left hand at your throne. And Jesus says, you know not what you ask of me. Can you drink from the cup I drink? Can you do the things I need to do? And she didn't understand what he was saying at the time. But what he was saying is, following me and being at the right and left hand of my throne isn't what you think it's going to be. Because I didn't know at the time, Jesus was going to die. Jesus was going to suffer and go through so many things. And his disciples were going to go through it with him. And those two sons that asked to be at the right and left hand of his throne, one of them became the first martyr, the first Christian martyr, the first person to die for the faith. Following Jesus ain't supposed to be easy. And if I got to go through hell at the hands of the United States government to pay my dues and to serve God the way he wants me to, then I'm going to do it. And I'm not even going to complain about it. I am willing to suffer and go through whatever God decides that I should go through. And I'm going to do it in his name. I might not be ecstatic about it. Might not be happy about it. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in his name. And I know no matter what he puts me through on this earth to fulfill his plan and what he makes me do to serve him on this earth, I get paradise afterwards. You see, sinners, they have paradise here on earth. And most of the time, us Christians have the opposite here on earth. We go through it. But eternally, afterlife, sinners have it a lot worse than we do. We're all sinners, you know what I mean? But like, people who would deny Christ have their paradise here on earth. We don't, but that's okay. Because the afterlife is worth a lot more. Our souls are worth a lot more than paradise here on earth. Earthly desires and things like that, they don't matter in the end. They don't. So yeah, might I go through hell here in the future in the military? Probably. But it's a hell I'm willing to go through. So yeah, I'm excited for the military. That might sound crazy to some people, but I'm very excited. And I look forward to looking back on this video, these two videos, in the future and seeing how that's changed. How my opinions have changed about the past and where I go from here. So, if you found this video, I hope it helped you or gave you some kind of insight And yeah, future me, I hope you finally got what you wanted, achieved your dreams, man. I really do. I'm rooting for you, and I'm gonna work really hard so that you can have the future you want. Don't ever forget where you came from. And if any of my family members are watching this, because I know they're subscribed to this fucking channel, there, you got a more personal look into what's up here. Because I might not be able to talk about it as well in person, but by myself in my front room, why not?